Air traffic controllers are calling in sick, and this is what's happening. Over 4,000 flights delayed on Monday alone. Denver, 29% of arrivals delayed. Newark, 19%. Las Vegas, 15%. The government shut down 6 days ago. 13,000 air traffic controllers are working without pay, so they're calling in sick. Hollywood Burbank Airport, 0 controllers in the tower. In the next 15 minutes, I'm showing you exactly what happens when the people who keep planes from crashing stop showing up to work. Because this isn't just about delays, this is about how fast an entire aviation system can collapse and what it means if you're planning to fly in the next few weeks. We've got the numbers, the economic impact, and the 3 scenarios for how this ends. One of them is a nightmare. Let me show you what's actually happening right now. Let me paint you the picture of what's unfolding right now. On October 1st, 2025, just after midnight, the federal government shut down again. Congress couldn't agree on funding, and just like that, hundreds of thousands of federal workers stopped getting paychecks. But here's the thing. Airport screeners, air traffic controllers, federal air marshals, safety inspectors, and other workers are classified as essential, which means they're expected to continue showing up without pay. We're talking about 13,000 air traffic controllers, 61,000 TSA staff, thousands of FAA safety inspectors and federal air marshals, all working, none getting paid. And now, just 6 days into the shutdown, the consequences are hitting fast and hard. At Hollywood Burbank Airport, outgoing flights were delayed by an average of 2 hours and 31 minutes, with some delays approaching 4 hours. The reason? The airport currently has no air traffic controllers in its tower. But it's not just Burbank. Staffing issues were also linked to delays at the Newark, Phoenix, and Denver airports. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy confirmed at a news conference that the TSA has seen a slight increase in air traffic controllers calling in sick since the shutdown began. Slight increase. That's government speak for "we have a problem." Now, before we go further, I need you to understand something critical about air traffic controllers. These aren't just people sitting in towers giving instructions. They are the safety net between organized aviation and absolute chaos. Let me show you why. Every single second in American airspace, there are thousands of commercial aircraft in the sky. At any given moment, over 5,000 planes are being tracked, separated, and guided by air traffic controllers. Their job is to ensure that planes don't collide with each other, maintain safe distances during takeoff and landing, navigate through weather safely, and have clear runways to land on and get from point A to point B efficiently. It's one of the most stressful jobs in America. You're making split-second decisions where a single mistake could cost hundreds of lives. The mental load is enormous. The stakes are maximum. And now, an official noted that in a job that's already stressful, this shutdown has put way more stress on our controllers. Imagine going to work every day knowing you won't get paid. You can't afford to miss work or you'll be fired. Your mortgage is due. Your family is counting on you. And you're responsible for keeping thousands of people alive. That's the impossible position these workers are in right now. 12 Federal Aviation Administration facilities saw staffing shortages on Monday alone. When controllers call in sick, the remaining staff have to handle increased workloads, or facilities just shut down. And here's what makes this even more dangerous. Air traffic control was already understaffed before the shutdown. The FAA has been dealing with a staffing crisis for years. Training new controllers takes years. They can't just hire temps. There's no backup plan. So when experienced controllers start calling in sick because they literally can't afford to work for free, the entire system starts to buckle. Which brings us to the question everyone's asking. Let's talk about what reduced operations actually means. When a control tower loses staff, the FAA has 2 options. Option 1, reduce traffic. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy stated, "Our priorities are safety, and so if we have additional sick calls, we will reduce the flow. This means fewer planes in the air, which means delays, which means cancellations." When Burbank lost its entire tower staff, planes couldn't land or take off safely without controllers. The airport had to operate under alternative procedures, basically pilots coordinating with nearby facilities miles away. It's slower, less efficient, and has strict limitations. Option 2, close the facility. Some smaller airports just shut down completely. No flights in or out. Now, is this safe? Here's what aviation experts will tell you. The system has redundancies. Pilots can see each other. There are backup procedures. Modern technology helps, but those backups were designed for emergencies, not extended operations. And here's the uncomfortable truth. We've been here before. In January 2019, during a 35-day government shutdown, a shortage of air traffic controllers may have played a role in ending the government shutdown. Controllers were calling in sick, delays were mounting, the aviation system was on the brink. On January 25, 2019, LaGuardia Airport in New York ground to a halt due to air traffic controller shortages. Other airports followed. The economic pressure became too much. The government reopened that same day. But that was after 35 days. We're only 6 days into this shutdown, and we've already seen multiple facilities with staffing issues. So is it safe? For now, yes, because they're reducing flights. But the longer this goes on, the more stress on remaining controllers, the more risk builds into our system. Let's talk about what this actually is costing us. When flights get delayed or canceled, it's not just an inconvenience, it's an economic bomb going off in slow motion. This level of disruption affected tourists planning trips to Los Angeles, Burbank, and nearby areas, potentially reducing visitor numbers for hotels, restaurants, and attractions. But this goes way beyond tourism. Lost productivity from business travelers missing meetings, deals falling through, conferences disrupted, supply chain delays, airline industry losses from compensation for delayed passengers, rebooking costs, aircraft sitting unused, crew scheduling chaos, ripple effects with airports losing revenue, ground transportation disrupted, hotel booking cancellations, restaurant and retail sales in airports plummeting. Airline stocks take a hit every time these delays spike. Investor confidence drops. The travel industry, which was already recovering from past disruptions, takes another blow. And then there's you, the average traveler trying to visit family, take a vacation you've saved for, get to a wedding, make it to a funeral, interview for a job. More than 4,000 flights in the US on Monday were delayed. That's potentially hundreds of thousands of people affected in a single day. If the average delay costs a traveler $200 in expenses, meals, rebooking, accommodation, and we have 4,000 delayed flights carrying an average of 150 passengers each, that's $120 million in one day, just in personal costs to travelers. And we're only counting delays, not cancellations. But here's the most infuriating part of it. It's totally preventable. The United States is virtually alone among developed nations in regularly shutting down to its own government over budget disputes. Other countries had mechanisms to prevent this, continuing resolutions, automatic funding, systems that prioritize keeping essential services running while politicians argue. But in America, we've normalized using government shutdowns as a political bargaining chip. Since 1976, the US government has shut down 22 times, some for just a few hours, others for weeks. Each time we say never again, and each time essential workers like air traffic controllers become pawns in a political game. Essential employees required to continue working during a shutdown are guaranteed back pay once the stalemate ends. Guaranteed back pay. That sounds nice until you realize your mortgage is due now. Your electricity bill is due now. Your car payment is due now. Your kids need to eat now. You can't pay bills with a promise of future money. The situation has also slowed down the implementation of key technology modernization programs, delayed thousands of flights, and held up billions of dollars of airport infrastructure investments. So not only are we disrupting current operations, we're also sabotaging future improvements that would make the system safer and more efficient. And here's what really gets me. The ones suffering the most are the ones keeping us safe. The air traffic controller who's working a double shift because their coworkers called in sick. The TSA agent screening bags while worrying about how to feed their family. The safety inspector who can't do their job because there's no budget for travel to inspection sites. These are real people being used as leverage in a budget fight they have no control over. So where does this go from here? There are really only 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, quick resolution. Congress reaches a deal in the next few days and the government reopens. Controllers get back pay. Operations return to normal. Delays decrease. This is the best case scenario. But given current political dynamics, it seems unlikely. Scenario 2, extended shutdown, manageable disruption. The shutdown continues for weeks. More controllers call in sick, but enough keep working that the system stays operational with heavy delays and cancellations. Economic pressure mounts until Congress acts. This is what happened in 2019. Scenario 3, system crisis. If enough controllers call in sick simultaneously, we could see major airports effectively shut down. The economic shock would be immediate and severe. Emergency legislation would likely follow within days. This is the nightmare scenario nobody wants. Right now, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the Federal Aviation Administration is seeing some callouts, but characterize it as a slight tick-up. Every day the shutdown continues, more controllers face impossible financial decisions. More TSA agents struggle to make ends meet. More pressure builds on a system that was already strained. If you're planning to fly in the coming weeks, here's what you need to know. Book early flights. Problems compound throughout the day. Build in buffer time. Don't book tight connections. Check real-time FAA advisories. Know which airports are having staffing issues. Consider travel insurance, coverage for delays and cancellations. Have a backup plan. Be prepared to rebook or drive if necessary. Stay flexible, be ready to adjust your plans. Look, I'm not here to tell you which political party is right about the budget. That's not what this is about. This is about recognizing that essential workers are being used as bargaining chips when we force the people responsible for our safety to work without pay. We're not just creating an inconvenience, we're creating a crisis. One sick call at a time, one delayed flight at a time, one stressed out controller at a time. Controllers are considered essential workers, so they must work during the shutdown, but are not being paid. That's the system we've created, and until we fix it, this will keep happening. Your flight getting delayed isn't just about politics in Washington, it's about real people making impossible choices in control towers across America right now. The next time you fly, take a second to think about the invisible workforce guiding your plane safely to the ground. They deserve better than this, and so do you. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like and subscribe for more in-depth coverage of stories that affect your life. Drop a comment below. Are you flying soon? Have you been affected by these delays? Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there and maybe check your flight status twice before heading to the airport.